morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world. This is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, a global speaker and author. The CEO of Inspired Leaders International, which is an international leadership development firm that empowers leaders to transform nations, and your provincial father's union president. Did you know that in Uganda, about 33.3% of the people who retire in this country die within the first 2 years of their retirement? Did you know that the top cause of that death is stress? And the top cause of that stress is the finances? Well, today we are here to talk about how we can deal with stressful situations in life. And in studio today, I have an amazing team. An amazing team. People I have known for a very long time, about 1 hour. Can you imagine? People, isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
We've known each other for a very long time, about an hour of our life. In the studio, we have a team of wonderful people whom I met today as we were having the kind of conversation we are going to be having here today. We were at the Makerere University Business School, MUBS, in the city of Kampala in East Africa, where we were having the GCF annual youth conference. GCF is Graduate Christian Fellowship, a team of wonderful people who studied from Makerere University Business School, and they are now in the marketplace. They are doing amazing things, and they always go back and organize an annual youth conference for the whole university. And so today I was one of the speakers on matters of stress management, and I met wonderful friends here that we have who are going to be sharing their experiences, their key highlights from the things we were sharing together. And I hope that by the end of this program today, you will have known how you can deal with your own stressful situations and be happy and be strong and be joyful. Why not? Remember, this program primarily exists to equip, empower, and challenge family leaders to expand their family leadership capacity for national transformation. So it's time to hear from the wonderful people we have in the studio. So I would like to begin with the person that is immediately on my right. To introduce yourself, tell our viewers who you are, what you do. Let's know something about you.
Okay. Good evening, viewers. Good morning and good afternoon to those in diaspora. My name is Edith Kutesa Jita. I work with Nexus Green as the MD for the foundation in Nexus Green, and I'm a mother to 3.
Awesome.
And I'm also a speaker and a trainer to the executive assistant world. And I've done a bit of work with universities. Actually, that's how we met a long time ago, 1 hour ago, with Samuel. So it's a privilege for me to be before you this evening, sharing the insights, sharing the lessons that we have picked from our sessions. Thank you so much.
Awesome. It's a joy to see you. It's a joy to have you here. Thank you for accepting to come and invest this 1 hour into the nation and people beyond this country.
Thank you so much. Samuel.
Where we come from, they would say, okay, now put your hands together and appreciate.
Thank you so much. Samuel.
Yes, next.
A very good evening to you, dear ladies and gentlemen. I greet you in the name of the Almighty God, wherever you are watching from. My name is Kahoza Kamanzi, a student at Makerere University Business School. I'm in my final year doing Bachelor of Commerce, Accounting option.
Okay, Bachelor of Commerce. A lot of mathematics?
Business and
Business and
accounting.
Okay. Yes. So you are the guys who used to do a lot of those numbers on logic in the general paper, while some of us were busy doing the numbers on the essay writing. Yes. Good to see you and good to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Okay, next.
Yeah, hello dear viewers, and I'm called Esther Namakoye. Yeah, a former graduate of Makerere University Business School. Yeah, it so happens that I think I'm neighboring a coursemate.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what
I
you studied,
also
BCom.
happened to graduate with a bachelor's degree in commerce, accounting option.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, after there, I happened to have joined the working world, and I've worked in a number of institutions, basically in the audit field. Yeah, currently, I happen to be an internal auditor for International Needs Uganda.
Yes.
And also in practice, I do tax and business advisory.
EFRIS.
Yeah.
Very close of efforts.
EFRIS and anything to do with tax.
Yes.
Yeah, we make it simple. And of course, a businesswoman on the other end as well. Yeah, I'm not married. Yeah, thank you.
Don't mind. You just wait. You will see soon.
By the end of things,
Yeah, you're very welcome, Esther.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you on set.
Thank you.
Yeah. Next.
Good evening, viewers, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
My name is Nabongo Agre. I'm a student at MUBS Makerere Business School. I'm offering procurement. I'm in my final year.
Procurement usually goes with logistics.
Yes.
Is it the same course?
Is procurement and,
And logistics management.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Very welcome.
Thank you.
And good to have you on set.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, my brother, Victor Mpologoma.
Yes, I think I was supposed to introduce myself, but they've already
Just come a little bit closer.
They've already told them my names, but that's right. My name is Victor Mpologoma Gracious Hines. You can-
Gracious?
Gracious Hines.
Okay.
Yes, you can call me by either one, whichever one is easy for you.
Which one is your stage name? Because when you add two, you start to sound like the artist of the day.
I actually use Mpologoma Victor.
Okay.
Yes, Mpologoma Victor. Many people decide to use Victor because they feel like Mpologoma is very, very long, and the short form is Goma.
Okay.
So
Mpologoma. Goma.
Goma, exactly.
I hear you.
I have a foster mom.
I think I should be Tana, since I'm Baku Tana.
That's true. Or Baku.
Baku sounds better.
So yes, I have a foster mom.
Okay.
And she comes from the US. So Mpologoma was very hard for her to pronounce. So they're like, okay, let's go with Goma. So sometimes I say that my name is Goma for those that
Yes.
feel like Mpologoma is so long. But yes, my name is Mpologoma Victor Gracious Hines. By God's grace, I graduated from Makerere University Business School last year.
Oh, last year. Okay.
Yes, in February, and I have been working with FUFA, particularly with FMS, FUFA Media Services.
Okay.
since
Is that the
2022.
Football Federation?
Exactly.
Okay. Just to be sure.
Yes, and it is one of the oldest federations in Uganda.
Yeah.
It's actually celebrating 100 years
Is that so?
currently.
Really?
Yes, a
I
centenary
knew
of
it has
celebrations.
been here for quite a long time, but I
Since
didn't know it would be
1924.
100 years.
One of the oldest federations
Yes.
in sports federations in Uganda.
Yeah.
So I've been working with them since 2022, and I work as a television presenter. But
Okay.
also I fellowship at St. James, where you were the speaker.
Yes.
That I've known you since I think 3 p.m. You and
We've known each other for a long
you
time.
and since 3 p.m. And this Esther.
Yeah.
Kamanzi and Agri,
Yes.
we fellowship together.
All
I've been
right.
fellowshipping since my year too.
Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful. What a joy it is to have you here today, ladies and gentlemen.
thank you.
And before you go, I would like you to, first of all, share what are your top 2 stressful situations that you may have gone through in the past, or maybe you're still dealing with. If I can get just those 2, then I will let 3 of you first have your seat, and I stay with 2 of you. Let's first share that. What are some of the top stressful situations that you have encountered in the recent past, or you could still be dealing with? Let me start from where we just ended.
Stressful situations.
Yeah.
All right. I'll talk about one thing that you mentioned today. Or that there are 4 types of stress factors. You have the situational stress. You have the encounter stress. You have the anticipatory stress, but also you do have the time stress. Some of my stressful factors that I've stressful situations I faced recently. I would call it time, the time stress factors, because I deal in the time business. When you're in media, it's all about time.
Yeah.
And I have a lot on my plate sometimes. So you find that there's a lot that you need to deal with in terms of getting work done, but also getting a couple of things outside work done as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Which today, since I got to know more about stress, I realized that I've been dealing with, a lot of time stress.
Okay.
Personally. I would say.
Running around with many deadlines and a lot of work
Exactly.
to be done in so little
Precisely.
time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. What are some of your top 2 situations that you've been dealing with in your life?
Well, since we have talked about stress today, I've learned a lot. But to summarize, mainly the top stress factors. Okay, like let me talk as a student.
Yes.
What I've gone through.
Yes.
Like sometimes you have deadlines and tuition challenges, and you have to clear yourself.
And they are telling
It's
you
so
there is
new.
surcharge if you
Yeah.
pay beyond this time.
Yeah. So sometimes you find that you have to clear for yourself, and you may be the one paying your own tuition.
Yes.
So the deadlines and the pressure it puts on you, so that affects you and your concentration while
Of
dealing
course.
with the papers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And the papers don't cause you any stress? You are unique.
They also cause stress.
Okay.
It's there.
Or you're the one who stresses them with your intelligence and wisdom.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right. Esther, what are some of your top, stressful situations you may have been dealing with in the recent past or you're still grappling with today?
Yeah, thank you so much. We do appreciate the topics that we happen to have covered today under the stress factor of it. And of course, first I discovered that surely we live with stress.
Yes.
And it's hard to realize at some point that surely I am stressed.
People are stressed and not aware.
Yeah, like we sometimes speak about it jokingly.
Yes.
Yeah, but as my colleague earlier on hinted on the different types of stress, for us in the audit field, the time bit of it covers it, all. As we are working here and there, we have deadlines to always report to the board.
Yes.
And of course, you have to report sensible things. And
Which you have analyzed carefully.
yeah, you have
and you are
carefully
dealing with a lot of
analyzed
figures in
and-
auditing.
Yeah, of course, you get to see that you have dealt with managers.
Yes.
And you're so careful on what you're reporting. Yeah, not malicing people here and there. And same to the tax world as well.
Yes.
Yeah, clients come to us, and surely, like currently, our clearing and forwarding agents out there are having a deadline for submitting their license renewals. So it so happens to be a time to renew licenses, and they have to apply for tax
So they
clearances.
put you on pressure.
So you get to see that you have to file these returns, follow up tax clearances, and before you know, you're an officer, and they're like, no, keep amending returns, amending returns here and there, and you're like, okay, time is getting up with me,
yes.
But all in all, the encounter bit of it, as a businesswoman on the other side,
Yes.
yeah, I deal with so many clients, and
That means so much money.
yeah,
Good analysis.
I'll be specific since
Yes,
today I'm in a building of one of the banks.
Okay.
Yeah, I happen to be an agent for Equity Bank.
Yes.
And of late, we've been having so much of system challenges here and there. So you get to see that you work on a client and their service is not really, satisfied as they expected.
Yes.
And you cannot really change bank systems or like third-party controlled systems. So you get to see that you have to interface with different clients and characters. Somebody comes,
Yeah.
I have deadlines, my payment is not reflecting, hey, my money has been swallowed
So
by
business
the
stress
system.
is in short.
Yeah, so you get to see that you encounter different kind of stress.
Okay. All the ones you have shared have to do with your professional work as an auditor, as a tax consultant, as a businesswoman. How
Yeah.
about Esther as a person?
Wow.
Are there any stressful situations that you could have faced in the recent past or are still going through that are not connected with your job, not connected with your work, but Esther, the person we see,
Yeah,
not the professional?
yeah, as Esther really.
That's what they call putting somebody on spot.
Yeah, as Esther really. There's been so much stress really all around, you know. Us from the Christian fraternity,
Yes.
you get to see that in church there's so much that evolves around, hey, when are you getting married?
When are you getting married?
You know?
They
Like
ask those questions.
Yeah, this is
And
the
you know what,
family
Esther?
platform.
Even when you finally get married, before you know it, they're asking, so when are you producing?
When I get to kids.
Yes.
Yeah, so you get to see that everywhere you go, be it work, be it home, be
Yes.
it wherever, everybody is asking, as in, when are you getting married? You know,
Yes.
it looks like it's the whole big deal and main goal of life.
And that ends
you
up
know?
actually straining you emotionally,
Yeah,
stressing
so
you.
you get to see that, as in, at some point, you're like, okay, as in, this is just a joke. But of course, when you get back to those loner moments,
Yeah,
you like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I think
They
maybe
have
there
a
is
point.
something wrong, but then, of course, the confidence gets back.
Yes. I hear
Everybody
you.
has their time.
Oh yeah,
So,
oh yeah, I hear
yeah.
you. Thank you. Victor, are you married yet?
Not yet.
Esther, are you married yet?
No.
There are two people on set.
Put one and two together. Yes, Mr. Kamanzi. Are there- That's what they call inciting violence. So are there some of the stressful situations that you go through or you've gone through in the past or are still struggling with as a person? Maybe tell us one or two briefly.
Yes, I must admit that most of the times we have been going through stressful moments, but we never knew.
Okay.
But from the shine that we had today, like I want to spot specifically on one of the anticipatory stress. So that's one like they will tell that life after campus.
Yes.
You're inside here, you're finishing, where you're going.
Where are you going? There are no jobs.
There are no jobs.
And you get stressed before you reach
think
there.
About like after my last paper. First of all, you first leave hostel. From hostel, where am I going?
Am
Am
I going back
to
home?
Kashari?
Yes.
What am I going to do?
Yes.
So you find that you give it a lot of thought and you have nothing to do about it, other to wait and then wait.
So you get stressed about a future that has not yet come.
That has not yet come. Stressed about how about when I finish.
Yes.
So that has always been a stressful moment. But
Yeah.
I think from today, I think I will first to give it a hold until when the time will come.
All right. Thank you. Yes, please, Edith. Any specific, maybe one or two top stressful situations you've dealt with in the past or are still going through now?
Okay. For starters, I like introducing myself as the African Christian working married mother.
Wait, the African Christian working married mother.
Now that alone in its basketful is stressful.
That statement alone is quite stressful. When
That
you try
alone
to repeat it.
because you're at
That's
each,
the counter stress for you.
Yes.
at each point in time you're wearing more than a million hats.
Yes,
The
yes.
expectations of Edith as a Christian are 1,000,001. The expectations of Edith as a wife, and an
Yes.
African wife at that, as she goes to work, will she come back and cook the food? All
Yes.
those nitty
Luombo.
gritties. So all that alone is
Etoke
stressful.
bobe.
And then of course what comes into play is the fact that I have to balance
Yes.
these hats so that none
Yes.
of them drops off my
You
head.
don't drop the ball.
Yes, I don't want to lose my children because I was too busy working. I don't want to lose my husband to a maid or someone else because I was, somewhere else.
You're shaking tables.
This is the table I actually want
You're
to
shaking
shake
tables,
1,000,001 times.
losing your
I
husband
do not
to a
want-
maid.
Did I say I've been married for 22 years?
You didn't.
Okay, I've been married for 22 years.
It doesn't look like it's been 22.
Yes, and I don't
Looks
want
like 10.
anything. I don't want to shake that at all. So So what am I trying to say? That on a particular day, I'm like, is Mr. Jita happy? Is my children happy? Am I doing everything that I'm supposed to do as
Yes,
a parent?
yes.
And then, if I can say, maybe the anticipatory, when you get to, now interestingly, when it comes to kids and you're balancing them, at times there are moments when you have to pick up.
Yes.
And then you have a meeting.
From school.
You have to pick them up at 5 p.m. and then someone sneaks in a meeting. So now these are the daily stresses that I always have to work with. Having to know now what is the backup plan, who
Yes.
picks my son from school so that I'm able to attend the meeting, or if something is important, it's playing around with priorities on a daily. So when it comes to stress, that is something that I've been, those hats, keeping them on the head. And then another thing, when we were sharing anticipatory, I had earlier shared that I've done a rehearsal for my retirement.
Rehearsal for retirement.
Yes,
That's a new concept.
About 3 years ago, I rehearsed my retirement. I
Yes.
actually pulled out of the work. What made me bounce back is COVID.
Yes.
So I had done that rehearsal, but then it helped
How
me.
did you do a rehearsal for retirement? Before you quickly run over it, it's an interesting thing to listen to. Rehearsing retirement.
I had always planned that
It's like
by
when you
this
say
age.
rehearsing heaven.
Dying briefly. So I had always said that by this age I should be out of employment.
Okay, do
And
you
it's,
mind sharing which age that was?
45.
Oh, okay.
So then I started putting a number of things into play.
Yes.
I had acquired a lot of experience as an executive assistant, worked with the top CEOs in the country. So I started training. I have a profile of a number of them that I had worked with.
Yes.
So I felt I was in a comfortable position. So I started a company, the corporate assistant, and then I started training. So
Yes.
then I had a daycare at home, then I had transport business, and then I had a shop. So I felt like it's comfortable enough for me to move. And guess what? As soon as I resigned in February, work pressure and everything,
Yes. In March.
COVID starts around March, then
March
May,
18th.
the closings
March
and everything.
18th, when somebody said therefore,
Now that
we
is
cross the country.
Now that is the true definition of stress.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
So I had it planned, but then I didn't plan that what I had planned for would again come to a halt,
Oh,
because
yes.
that meant daycares couldn't work, that meant
course.
transport couldn't work, everything else
Everything
couldn't
was
work.
frozen.
So this is why I'm calling it a rehearsal for 18 months I didn't have a job. So I felt what it meant, that even the systems that we put in place
Yes.
at times
Yes.
actually do not work.
Yes.
Today, as you're sharing about the financing and that pressure that comes with, uncertainty, I knew exactly where you're coming from,
Yes.
and then it gave me other lessons. What else do I need to put in place?
Okay.
Had I had instruments and things like that? Yes. So yeah,
Wow.
that's
Amazing, amazing. Friends, can we appreciate everyone for sharing what they have shared? Wonderful, wonderful. So let me request the three of you to first take some rest for just a few minutes, and I stay with these guys, these two guys.
Yes.
These two guys, Mr. Kamanzi and Agre.
Yes.
So, for each one of you, I would like you to share your top 3 key highlights that you learned from the session we had this evening at MOOBS concerning dealing with stressful situations. What were your top 3 key highlights? Let me begin with you.
All right. Thank you very much. So about the topic of stress, we learned a lot in that.
What were your
short
top 3 key highlights?
session.
And keep them as brief as
As
possible.
brief as possible. Well, stress will always be there,
That's one thing you took out
Yes.
of the session.
and it cannot be eliminated
Yes.
completely.
Yes.
But we can always put systems in place to manage it, put it in check.
Stress can't be eliminated, but it can be managed and reduced.
Yes, it can be reduced. So make sure you have like a support team or right people around you.
Yes.
Someone you can talk to. It can be a therapist or someone. They can help.
Yes.
Even some people around you may have gone through a similar thing. So if you share and network with them, maybe it can help you
Yes.
to get further
Okay.
and faster on the challenge. Yes.
Any other? Or basically that's your key highlight?
Basically,
Okay.
that's
All right. My brother, what was your key highlight of the session this evening?
This evening, today, I learned a lot. like I have shared before, on the different types of stress.
Yes.
So you be handled if you know a problem once known is a problem half solved.
Say that again.
A problem known is a problem half solved.
That's a
So,
quotable quote.
yes, if you know I have such a problem, meaning that you now advise the means on how to solve it. But
Yes.
if you don't know that I have this problem, then what will you do? Because you will continue saying, maybe as Kamanzi I'm okay.
Yes.
Yet in actual sense you're not okay.
Dear mans.
Yes.
Okay.
So today,
And you know, there are so many people who are at that place whereby they are in a problem that they don't know they are in. They feel the pain, but they are not sure where the pain is coming from. So
they are
same
not
thing with
sure.
this issue of stress indeed.
Yes.
People
So-
are at the center of it all, but they are not aware that that is what it is called.
Yes.
They can even argue and say, me being stressed? No,
No,
I'm
I'm
okay. All is well. But when you look at the telltale signs, you realize,
Stressed.
ah,
You are stressed.
The man or the
today I'm
woman is
looking
down.
at the top 5 types of stress. I realized that me personally was going through a lot that I didn't know. But what stood out of me this evening, one, was that stress can be an opportunity.
yes.
Yes. In management, there's a course called management. It started in year 1. There is conflict management.
Yes.
The traditional version of it said that conflict is bad and should be avoided.
Should run away from it.
Yes, but there's the new version of it which said that stress is okay, and in any business we should have
Conflict.
That after you have had conflict, it will be an avenue for you as a business to develop.
Interesting.
That one I connect it with that stress is an opportunity for us. If we have stress, then how are you going to do about it? If I have an anticipated stress that after campus, where will I go? So what are the avenues do you put as a student that after you have done with the campus, at least you can have something to do?
Do you know that you're lucky that you are right now in this enclosed room? Otherwise, some people who are watching, they feel like throwing stones at you. You know why?
Why?
How dare you tell them stress is good? Do you know the pain they are going through?
Even me,
Somebody is feeling a lot of pain because of the stressful situation. They are about to chase her out of the house. She has not yet paid the rent. The stress is so humongous. In fact, the landlord sent her a message this morning and said, if you dare not clear that bill 3 months arrears by Sunday tomorrow evening at 5, I am throwing your things out. And then you tell her that stress is good, it's an opportunity.
yeah, it is an opportunity. Having had an avenue to meet a great speaker, Pakutana, today evening, I will tell you and openly tell that stress is an opportunity for you. Having had that stress, it will open up your mind. That is one thing. So you could maybe in a comfort zone when you don't know that you have to pay rent.
Yes.
Oh, you know you have to pay rent, but you're not so stressed that maybe. But having received that note, that one will open your mind. Maybe
You start to think better.
you think better. Maybe what do I need to do? Should I call someone? You see, amongst your friends, who can you be?
How can I sell the chair to pay the
Pay
rent? And then next time plan
or
better.
It can give you an opportunity to say maybe if I've been paying a rent of 400, let me reduce and go to 200 so I can be paying in. That is an opportunity.
After all, I am in a house that has 3 bedrooms and we are only 2 of us in the house,
So
but
you
I'm
got
paying
that
for all the rooms.
For all the rooms.
Because I hope that in the future you'll get a visitor, and you've been in that house for 9 years and you've never gotten
You
a
have
visitor.
never gotten a chance to sleep in that bed.
Yes.
So another thing I learned today is on how the avenues or the ways on how to manage stress. One, that you shouldn't be an introvert.
What do you mean?
An introvert is a person who keeps okay, if I have a secret or if anything is happening in my life, it is about me and me only.
Okay.
I will
Like
not
being
share with my
secretive.
friend, I will not, yes.
Oh,
So I
okay.
will not open
Okay.
up. So one of the things, maybe if you have a parent, you can call and say, Dad, this and this is happening.
The girlfriend is stressing me.
Maybe.
Have you ever told your parent those kinds of things? Oh, you don't want to stress your parent.
No, why, my majority of my life, I share it with a lot with my brothers and
Okay.
sisters,
Yes.
and even my parents.
Okay.
So I'm not part of the introverts, but
Yeah.
I open out
Maybe we will use the word the secretive people, because I think introvert and extrovert, it's more of a natural personality that somebody doesn't choose, but what you are explaining is something somebody can choose, like being open to share or being secretive yourself. So maybe we use secretive.
Yes. So once you have a challenge, maybe you have like a tuition problem.
Yes.
You keep quiet, you say, I have nothing to do with it. We looked at the internal and external management of stress.
Yes.
So, like St. James as a chapel, we bless the Lord for it. Some students have been helped out of it.
Okay.
But they would only help you when you come out or you say,
when you talk.
I have such a problem, this and this.
Yeah.
And they personally can see it. But now, imagine you have kept quiet, you have sat in your room, you say, I don't have tuition, so let me close my room and sleep. At the end of the semester, I go back.
Yeah.
No one will be there to help you. But what I've learned that you open up, and you cannot say that I have no solution about it.
Yeah.
If the landlord is just out of the room and you say, okay, let him come and take me, or let him come and sell the things, I say I have nothing to do about it. But once you say there is that space in you that I have another chance, or I have a solution that you can do, try and fail, but never fail to try.
So philosophical, man.
Yes.
Try and fail, but never fail to try.
Yeah, at least you have tried to convince
By
the
Kamanzi
landlord
of Uganda.
with
We usually quote Mahatma Gandhi. We quote now it is Kamanzi of Uganda. Yeah, try and fail, but don't fail to try.
Yes.
Amazing. So let me get back to you, my brother. What have you decided today to change or do differently going forward as a result of the conversation we had on dealing with stressful situations in life?
That's a good question. Well, there are many things I want to try to change. Like you talked about, if you're facing like a challenge, let me use this one of use secretive. Like if you're having a challenge of stress, secretive. I'm thinking of trying out like having people who have gone through a similar challenge. They have gone through it and they have lessons they have learned.
Okay.
So if you learn through them, it can help you not repeat the same mistakes and also go further and faster than they did. So that can help you mitigate some stress off you.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
You can also talk to, I can consult. I can ask you about some people we know about a certain situation and I'm going through. And you may be of help to me. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just like he has said, like people are facing challenges of tuition. They have been helped out if they go to like to the chaplain and talk to him about their situation.
Okay.
So that can also help to deal with the challenge of maybe tuition.
So in other words, you're saying you are going to be opening up to a number of people whenever you are faced with tough situations, so they don't die gentlemanly, but you find help when you need it.
Yes.
All right. And you, what have you decided to change or do differently as a result of the conversation that we had this evening about dealing with stressful situations?
The conversation we had, I got this from Bakutana, that nothing can change if nothing has not changed.
Say that again.
Nothing can change if nothing has not changed.
Okay.
So if
nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yes. So if you continue doing the same way, the way you have been doing, so and you expect a change, maybe you have to change at different occasions. You have to change the ways you have been doing, or you change what you have been doing. I've talked about the anticipatory stress. I think that one, I have told you before, I will put a hold on it. Maybe I could first concentrate, I finish my course, then that one will come later. Maybe like 2 to 3 days to the final paper. Another thing is also resisting or abstaining from certain acts that may bring stress.
Yes.
We have seen that there is a stress that we bring to ourselves. As a student, you're in politics. I used to be in politics, but I stopped.
Why
You're
did
in
you
church
stop?
leadership.
You may be our next president of this country. You need to keep rehearsing what to do. I even see 26th Guild Parliament.
Yes, I was elected in the parliament as a guild representative for Bachelor of Commerce.
Okay.
And that one gives you a lot of responsibilities. as a honorable, there are certain things that you have to do, maybe in the class or even outside the class.
Okay.
At the same time, I had different activities to opposition that I had in church. So, and amidst that, I was doing a very heavy course.
So what are you changing?
So what I did, to avoid all that stress, I reduced on the activities I was participating in.
Okay.
Now from politics, I can put a hold and I can resume at any time.
All right.
Yes.
Okay,
because
thank you.
leadership comes from God, and we know at any time God can bless you.
Indeed. Wishing you well. Thank you very much for coming to share with us. At this moment, I would like my friends to join us now.
Okay.
let me request Esther and Victor specifically to please join me here as quickly as possible. Yes. And I would like to hear from you also, indeed, concerning today.
It was
What
a
was
very
your key
interesting
highlight?
session.
What was
Very
your
good
key
session.
highlight from the session we had on dealing with stress? Just briefly.
Okay, thank you once again. A very interesting conversation that we had today, and given the fact that it was something that I didn't really expect, but I'll say one thing that immediately, even after we finished the session, I was speaking with a friend, and one thing we laughed about but agreed on is, when it rains, let it rain.
When it rains, you
Let
let
it
it.
rain, exactly. There's nothing you can do about it. The very many, life is up and down. We can't really control what's going to happen to us in terms of circumstances. And when something happens and it's really out of your control, one thing that you have to do is, let it rain. Just let it
In
flow.
other words, there are some situations
Exactly.
that you just have to let them be if you want to stay happy and well and fine. Otherwise, if you try to fight them, they actually fight you.
Back. Exactly.
Yes, okay.
Actually fight back. So that, and then going back to one of the other things that you share that we could actually do is, the internal locus, where you say that, we do what we can do personally as us. What we can control, we can control. What
Yes.
you can't control, you can't control. But you try as much as possible, maybe in what you can do to try and manage the situation.
Yeah.
So, in certain circumstances, for example, maybe you're having an issue at a job place. Sometimes your bosses they do what they want, but all you have to do is do your part. What you can do, and let the rest actually flow. So
Don't
that's
stress
one thing.
over things
Don't
you can't
stress.
change.
Hakuna matata.
Hakuna matata. Change what you can and endure what you must.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right.
maybe one of the other things that I took away from the session was in terms of doing your part. You did mention that at some point, and as much as all of the things happen, and I think my friend Kamanzi mentioned it, is that you try to change what you can change, right? And if you don't, that means nothing else will change as well.
Yes.
So that's some of the key things that I took away. Then maybe the first thing that you
Okay.
mentioned earlier on was when you're in leadership, right? And maybe you want to do things honorably. You say that you were at a different leadership conference recently, and they were talking about being a good leader or something, and say that at some point it's quite difficult because when you want to do the right thing, a lot of people are going to try and fight you. But you do things honorably. They may not like it, they may not like you. However, the end they'll respect you.
Okay. So in other words, if the stress is coming from you doing the right thing, take the stress honorably, keep moving.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yes, Esther, what was your key highlight? Maybe one, what was your key highlight from the session we had this evening at Makerere University Business School concerning dealing with stressful situations in life?
Wow, thank you so much.
Welcome.
One of my key highlights I took out from today's session is us being happy through stressful, situations in life, which may be encountered in different environments and spheres. And of course, the main thing being that as in, God is not interested in us being happy, you know, as in, He's interested in us pursuing holiness. And in us pursuing holiness, that is when other things like happiness and joy come to us. And of course, while dealing with stress, we ought to differentiate the difference between being happy and being joyful. Yeah, because happiness comes from the happenings around us. So could you be out there and, you know, you're just looking at what is around you, and, you know, sometimes we look at that and you're like, oh, I'm finished, you know, as in, it seems there is nothing good coming up. But, you know, that is just a bit of the situations of happiness. But then, as in, you can choose to turn around and think otherwise about the things that happen around you by being joyful. And, of course, how we defined joy from our today's session by Mr. Bakutana was, joy is what you are and what evolves from you. So, as in, develop yourself and equip yourself with that as in strikes joy out of you, so that you will automatically be happy in stressful moments.
All right.
Yeah.
So in the next couple of days, weeks, months, in just less than a minute, what do you see yourself changing or doing differently as a result of what you've learned today?
Wow, thank you. I had a lot of takeaways from today's session. Of course,
only one.
One of the main key things is being mindful about what I express out there.
Yes.
Yeah, for example, nervousness was one of the pictures that pictures one into a bracket of stress. Yeah, so I discovered sometimes I may have been a little nervous out there and would have not realized that, oh yeah, something is not right. Yeah, so I think I've gotten to pay a little more detail to that and see that surely I get better with myself.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Victor, you are a media personality. You are a presenter. You know, I would like you to tell us, what should media personalities do in order to avoid unnecessary stress? Maybe a minute or less.
Okay.
Speak to the TV presenters, to
Such as yourself?
news reporters. Speak to me, man. What can we do to ensure that we do not take on unnecessary stress?
All right.
Something specific to that world.
Well, one thing that I did mention is time. The time factor is one thing that some media personalities, face, because you have maybe so many programs, deadlines, you have a story that you have to get, and you're going to go on air very soon. I do 2 programs, and so you find that over the course of the day, you have to plan for 2 programs. So sometimes you have so much to do. Planning is the point. Planning is really, really important. Planning how you're going to do your stories, planning when you're going to prepare them, and then most times you find that you also find that they do struggle with time, because you have to be on the money for the program to start on time. So just planning your movement better, planning your stories better, and having a preconceived idea about what you want to do. For example, if I'm going to be talking about business this week, what business stories do I particularly want? What are the key questions, so that by the time I send someone there, if I'm not able to go there myself, they know what I want, and then bring them in. So planning, exactly, is very important.
Okay. Now, Esther, in 30 seconds, give one tip to the business community out there on what they need to do, one thing they need to do to avoid being stressed by taxes, because you're a tax consultant. So in just 30 seconds, that is that one tip that can enable the business community not to be stressed by taxes.
Wow, thank you to the business fraternity out there. Yeah, we discover taxes are a requirement to everybody that is earning income. Yeah, and so my advice is plan your taxes. As you register your TIN numbers, you'll always discover that on your TIN certificates, the taxes you're to comply to are highlighted in there. Okay. And on top of that, as in, get to update yourself with the different amendments. Yeah, for example, currently many of us are crying out with a lot of penalties and assessments, but URA passed out an incentive, I can say, of waiving off all penalties and assessments upon payment of your principal taxes.
So get updated on what
get
is happening in the world of taxes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Let me request Madam Edith to now come and sit where Esther is as we almost wrap up this program. Edith, I would like to hear from you. Today you were sharing. Victor, feel free to stay seated there. Madam Edith, what was your major idea of the presentation you gave today to the young people in the conference?
Okay, today we're sharing at MOBS, but it was supposed to be under Christian Well Living.
GCF.
Christian Well Living.
Okay.
The theme was Christian Well Living.
Okay.
However, we are at that point in this country where the numbers of youths are really high, and then we realize that a lot of negative narrative has been going on. So what we purpose to do this morning is to rewrite each of our stories.
Okay.
Yeah. So when they say Africans are this, Ugandans are this, the youth are this, Generation Z
Men
is this.
are.
How do I, as Andrew,
Yes.
rebrand myself as a youth in this generation to change the narrative? I told them we are looking at them as the next big thing.
Yes,
We
yes.
all know Africa is the next big thing for the whole of the world. Minerals are here, everything is here. So how then do we position ourselves as MOB students, as graduates from Makerere University Business School, to be able to tap into that and thrive?
Okay.
Again, there is this
Writing the
complacency that
story.
we usually have as Christians, that, I'm humble, let me be in charge. Actually, you spoke about it.
Yeah.
You're in every church activity. How do we change the narrative as
That
youth in this
stresses you.
generation? Yes.
Yeah.
How do I become dynamic? How am I in politics? So that you can, as a Christian, change the political narrative, change the economic narrative and everything else. So our discussion was basically
I
around
hear
that.
you.
Yes.
Change the narrative. Rewrite the story.
Rewrite the history, actually.
That's
Oh,
very important.
yeah,
It's very
yes.
important. On Independence Day, my 9-year-old son, him and I, we had an interesting conversation about independence. And
Oh,
as
independence, your
yes.
9-year-old son.
Oh yes, oh yes.
That's exciting.
Oh yes. And I remember the conversation boiled down to not allowing other people to label us things we are not.
True.
Because somehow in our conversation it came up that one of the biggest things the colonialists did was to give us labels. Africans,
you.
you are like this, for us, for you are black. Are you black, for example? They say you are a black person.
Do you remember that?
Of course. But they say you are black. Then somebody comes up and says, I am white. Say, is there a white human being?
Who's
There is no
defining
white
who?
human being.
Yes.
But anyway, so rewriting the story.
Yes.
And now you are a parent. I am a parent. You and I, we have children. In your view, in about a minute, what do you think the parents can do in order to help their children reduce too much stress among young people? Maybe a tip or two that parents can do to help children reduce on their stress.
I think I'll attend to that in two particular ways. I have 3 children, 19, 16, and 12.
Yes.
Each of these kids is different.
Okay.
The 16-year-old is different. I have an introvert, interestingly. Then I have this hyper one who is all over the place. So for starters, for me not to put pressure on them, I have
Yes.
to appreciate the fact that they're different. And I
Okay.
have to appreciate the fact that I honor their difference. And then respect them and help them excel in their different personalities.
So we should look at the children as different human beings,
individuals,
treat them
different
differently
purpose.
because they have different personalities.
Yeah, different personalities, different purposes,
Yeah.
and talented differently.
Okay.
And however, all of them are talented in
Yeah.
whatever way. So that is one way. And then secondly, communication. I'm my daughter's cheerleader. If I tell her, you know what, Jemima, you are this, I believe in you, and you're the best there is.
Yeah.
No teacher will tell her otherwise.
Yeah.
And that reduces the amount of stress that she gets.
Yeah.
Why? Because My mother told me. I liked it when you gave us the story of how you engage your daughter with
Yes.
sex education.
Yes.
So no man can come around and tell her otherwise,
Anything
because
else.
guess
Yeah.
what? Daddy told me this
Oh, yeah.
already. So she's already buying into that confidence. So the more communication we encourage in families, the communication we across, and let me say this, Samuel.
Yes.
Communication between father and daughter.
Yeah.
I keep telling people I am who I am because of a dad.
Wow.
When my dad told me you're beautiful, you're
Wow,
everything,
what
no
a
man
statement.
could come up and tell me. And for me, by the I'm a strong advocate in that. I've seen people say, you know,
An advocate of what?
of a family and
Yes.
everyone playing a role.
Yes.
I know what an impact a dad can play in the life of a daughter. You can't tell me otherwise. When daddy said so, daddy told me this, so I will have to check everything with my dad. Daddy, he says this. Is it the right thing to do? So if daddy says it's not, then I can't do it. Why? Because another male told me that.
Now, pause a bit. We are just ending the program, by the way, in about a minute or two.
Yeah.
Where will you be next Saturday? Can we host you here as Edith to talk about the impact of a dad in a daughter's life?
I'm happy to.
Next week, Saturday,
19 October.
Saturday, 19
October.
October 2024, 9 to 10 p.m. Our guest will be Edith Kutesa, talking about the impact of a dad in a daughter's life.
Yes.
So don't miss.
I'm happy
So
to.
as we close this program, what is your final message to the viewers, especially concerning a life of dealing with stressful situations? Just in less than a minute, your final word.
I'll speak to the audience that I'm really, really passionate about, and that is the woman. We are handling so many hats, and at times we forget. Actually, when you mentioned me time, it reminded me of the fact that when was the last time I had me time as Edith? As we carry the so many hats of being a mother, the church has so many expectations, my community has so many expectations, my job has so many expectations. I have deadlines to fit in. So when do I do my me time? So my message to the audience is, when do you have your me time?
Okay.
Have your me time so that you can relieve out the stress. And
yes.
another very important aspect is the support teams. Where is that place where you go to recharge, to rejuvenate, to pour out, and just be you?
All right.
I mean, I'll have two things
Wow.
that I picked from both.
Just share one,
Exactly.
your final message. We
Yes,
are closing.
One, just from you and her, because she said that we need to change the narrative about ourselves.
Yes.
And then you say that let's not look at life negatively. When we look at life negatively, then that's when the stress comes in. So
Yeah.
changing the narrative,
Yes.
and then
Being
looking at life
positive.
a bit more positive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, the world of stress is very serious. And it's important for you to ensure that you safeguard yourself from running crazy. You can get crazy because of the stressful situations around us. And as you know, this program is the Inspired Family Leader program. What can we do in our families to ensure that people have peace, people have joy, and we are living with one another in a collaborative manner? That even when we have stressful situations as husband and wife, as parent and children, as family and neighbors, to mention but a few, even in the workplaces, we still can be able to circumnavigate all those different situations and stay joyful and stay happy. As you have heard, there is a cocktail of things you can do, and I want to believe that you have picked your piece of the meal on this buffet this evening. We've been having wonderful friends from the Graduate Christian Fellowship Annual Youth Conference, participants and facilitators alike. It's been a pleasure having you this evening. Remember to live exemplarily,
Just one wife.
to lead
The
relationally.
leadership skills of a general.
Yes.
To lead an army of one woman. So we have to take a lot of